much for being here. My name is Tiffany Phillips. I am the work-based learning facilitator for Rutherford County Schools. It's a brand new position that started here in the summer. We have had work-based learning for years in the past, but this position of actually having a facilitator in the county is brand new. So it's been very exciting so far, getting to meet so many different employers like Anthony and Matt, and getting to work with some of you already. And I'm very excited about working with you in the future as well. So basically what that looks like is I am the middle person between the employer and the school system. And I'm trying to connect you with the right people. Okay. And we have Beth Prince over here. She is co-presenting with me. She's from Ingram Content Group. And she's going to tell us a little bit about how she has employed students, high school students in the past, and so it will be really good learning from their experience. So it's a really great program I'm excited about. So glad to have you, Beth.
Glad to be here.
Okay, so first I'm going to talk a little bit about some of the myths and facts about hiring high school students. These are some of the things that we hear the most across the state, and so I thought you guys might have some of these questions and issues and topics in your mind as well. So, myth number one, I can't work with minors. They must be at least 18 years old. And the fact is that companies have the final say regarding which students are qualified to work in their place of employment. Work-based learning programs require that students be at least 16 years of age and demonstrate readiness, attitudes, and skills prior to participation. So our students in Rutherford County have to go through an application process. They start that in January. This year, once they are accepted and they actually add the course for their schedule for next fall, this year we are planning to have employers at our hiring fair in April. I don't know if any of you guys have participated in the senior hiring fair that the chamber does in the past. We're planning on adding in work-based learning positions as well, so that our students can actually go ahead and get a job, and then they can begin that even in the summer if you would like for them to, or they can start in the fall. That can look different from employer to employer. Minors may legally work in Tennessee at the age of 14 or 15, and there's child labor laws here. It's TCA 50-5-105. And the thing is with this, if a student is enrolled in work-based learning, some of those child labor laws that might apply to you would go away because they are in a work-based learning program. That's going to be very company specific. So it's going to depend on what you are planning on having the students do. Some of the positions in your place of employment might be appropriate for high school students, and some honestly truly would not. Even with the protection of work-based learning course, being enrolled in that course in the state of Tennessee, there's still some that they cannot do. So that's something that we can talk on a base-to-base, like employer-to-employer basis. I also have a contact of the state that I can have come in and take a look at your place of employment and can give us some guidance on these jobs would be appropriate, these jobs would not be appropriate. Go ahead.
Are these facts from the Tennessee Department of Labor? Like, is this, so this number one myth is ubiquitous, and if you call the state 10 times, you usually get 8 or 9 different answers, where, it's
Yes.
not systemic, so this
is straight from a document that the State Department Work-Based Learning Coordinator has actually put out. So it is in written form, exact same, I copied and pasted.
Yeah.
I teach those trainings.
Because that is the way to make
I
sure
teach
that you
those for the
guys are
state, and that's accurate.
Yeah. And so Matthew Spinella is the guy's name. He is over work-based learning in the state of Tennessee. I can set up a meeting with you guys and Matthew and myself to come in and do a walkthrough, and they will tell you for certain these jobs are good, these jobs are not. Matter of fact, we have one with Old Time Pottery here in a couple of weeks. Very excited about that. So that's something that I can do for you guys as well. Go ahead.
What have you seen seems to be the determining factor in what makes it okay versus what makes it not okay?
Honestly, almost anything is okay. I went down and viewed the Volkswagen plant. Gestamp is the name of it down in Chattanooga. Those students are doing hot stamping. Well, they're approved to do hot stamping. As a company, they decided not to, but they are approved to do hot stamping. They're approved to work with the robotics that are doing the welding. So it really depends on what's in your place of employment, what you as a company is okay with. But according to the state of Tennessee, there's a lot of jobs that students are able to do that I would never have thought. I was blown away when I saw the students actually working on taking that metal and creating pieces for a automobile. That's stuff that we generally would not think would be safe for a high school student, but it is. Okay. What helps that out is we have pathways in Tennessee. So a student might be in the mechatronics pathway over at Oakland High School, and they are getting course content within the school, and they're getting safety training. They're getting, they're learning how to use those robotics in that program, and then they are able to apply that into the workplace. So with all of that training, a lot of those students are more prepared than our adults if they're in those programs. I love the questions. Okay, number 2. There's too much liability at stake for our company to work with minors. This is a big one because we all want to protect ourselves, right? And to be honest, the school system, as a school system, we want to protect ourselves as well. We want good positions for our students, and we want them to be safe positions, and we want to protect ourselves from liability, and we know that you guys want to protect yourselves from liability as well. It's a major issue in today's world, right? Workers' compensation protects every employee equally regardless of age. That's TCA 50-6-102. And neither age nor years of experience are calculated into the cost of providing workers' compensation nor the payout of claims. So if a student is 17 or you have an employee who is 20, the workers' comp should be comparable in price. It should not cost you more as a company to provide workers' comp insurance for those students. As a result, actual costs are low for hiring work-based learning students, and existing protections should be sufficient. And that's with our OSHA requirements as well. Okay, number 3. My industry or workplace is too dangerous for minors. There are only a few prohibited occupations for minors who are 16 or older. That's TCA 50-5-106. I have that in print over in my notebook over here if anybody wants to see that. That are unrelated to your workplace or industry as a whole. In most cases, OSHA requirements ensure that you're already protecting your employees to the same extent that you would need to protect a minor. So just because they're 17 should not change those OSHA requirements at all. So here's some examples of hazardous occupations for minors that are 16 or 17. Motor vehicle driving occupations, any type of explosive or fireworks work, occupations involving door-to-door sales, occupations involved in the operation of a circular saw, operation of power-driven machinery and heavy equipment. An exception for that one is students in CTE programs related to agriculture. And also with circular saws, if they have had that experience in their classroom as well, that might be appropriate in their place of work. Operation of power-driven woodworking machines, and exception is for students who are in CTE programs of study related to architecture and construction. And then the operation of metal stamping or forming machines, and that exception is for students in CTE programs of study related to architecture and construction or advanced manufacturing. And so that's what I saw in Gestamp. So down in Chattanooga a couple of weeks ago. So those students who are working at Gestamp on the metal forming machines, they are students who are in advanced manufacturing is what they run their programs through. So if any of these apply to you, then we could look at students who are in those programs of study in Rutherford County schools. Anthony?
Yeah, motor vehicles, is that just on public roads? Is that the concept of like no driving or Uber activities?
And it would also apply to, I could always come back on this and change it, but like forklifts, They're-
Because you know,
we
we
wouldn't want to
shuttle the
serve
cars
them.
for Nissan on the back end.
Oh, yes, I think, are we gonna have Matthew come in?
We
didn't talk-
probably would, the closer we get, we partner
Gotcha.
with.
Yeah, we need to ask him specifically on that one, but I think that one is okay.
Okay, yeah, the first phase of what we've talked about is gonna be light accessories. So
Yes.
they won't be driving, that was kind of our thought. But if we advance our program, that's our number one hiring spot.
Yeah, we need to talk to Matthew about that one. Good question. Okay, number 4, minors are prohibited from working in our jobs. Students enrolled in Tennessee CTE programs who are taking work-based learning, however, can do more than the average teenager. Because of that training that our students are receiving in those CTE programs of study in the high school, including working in advanced manufacturing, construction, and agriculture, and that's TCA 50-5-107. There's also required work-based learning paperwork that's going to protect you, the school, and the students by documenting eligibility and compliance with the law. So if you're going to hire work-based learning students, we do have a work-based learning agreement that the employer would fill out along with the teacher and the work-based learning coordinator. In some of those jobs we talked about before, it would also require their program of study teacher to sign off on it, as well as the parent too, and the principal of the school. So that form kind of releases us from some of that liability. We also have teachers who are in charge of those students, so they are in a high school class, okay, called Work-Based Learning Career Practice. And as a teacher, they have to report to you at least once a quarter and say, hey, how is Johnny doing? And is there anything that I can help you with in the workplace? So it's just a quick evaluation, 5 to 10 minute meeting. Unless you need longer, they're always there to help you in however much or however little you need. So they are a great resource for you when the student is enrolled in work-based learning. That teacher is there to help you. Number 5, HR says we can't even bring minors on the floor of our facility. In reality, company policy may be the only real barrier to engaging with the most talented and qualified students. So as we've already looked at the laws, most often than not, it's really HR or your company policy. That's the real barrier. So here's some ways to ensure quality and safe learning experiences that create a stronger workforce pipeline for your company. Number 1, you could always think about working with a temp agency to hire minors while they're still in high school. So we do have some employers who will use an outside temp agency, and that student will be an employee of the temp agency and then come into the workplace to do their work. In that case, we do ask that the temp agency is on that work-based learning agreement, as well as the employer is signing that work-based learning agreement. So that we've all come to the table, we've all discussed this, and we're all in agreement as to what this position will look like. You can work with CTE students between 360 and 720 hours of safety skills-based training in your industry. This can be in the classroom. This can be in your place of employment as well. So working with those teachers, and I can help connect you, that's part of my job, is to help you get connected with the right teachers in the right schools. You can create an internship or part-time position to complete educational or special projects and experience various roles or departments. If you're wanting to, if you have a special project or a special issue that you're dealing with, taking that to the classroom is a great way to connect with high school students and teachers and the upcoming workforce. You can draft a contract that defines companies' responsibility for non-employees like unpaid interns. So if you are thinking about having non-paid interns coming in, it would be a great idea to make sure that you're covering yourselves with a contract that the students and the parents might sign. And then provide an umbrella policy to protect non-employees. If you have interns or job shadow students or tour groups, you can look into an umbrella policy to cover anybody that's coming in under those terms. It was a lot of information, right? Okay, so I am going to let Mary Beth tell us about Ingram's program that they have and how they have been successful at hiring high school students in the past.
All right. Hi, I'm Mary Beth. Like she said, I'm the HR manager at Ingram Content Group in Laverne. At Ingram, if you don't know anything about Ingram, we distribute books. We not only distribute, we manufacture. I started manufacturing at Ingram. If you order a book on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Walmart, Target, any place like that, it usually comes through us. Okay, so just to give you a little background, the client group that I support is the distribution group. We have close to 700 associates in our distribution, and they receive, stock, pack, sort, pick the books, and ship them out. Okay, so I'm gonna go through our program. I'm a little bit nervous. I feel like on the third group I'll be a little bit better. So you're kind of my guinea pigs. Okay, so in 2018 we started hiring high school students. The reason for this was like we see today, but not as bad, now hiring. Okay, I feel like on every single corner there's a now hiring sign, especially right now. So back in 2018 we wanted to kind of start a shift that really was for our need, for our peak season. It was for the weekend shift, okay? So we'll go through each year the pros and cons in the process. In 2018, we reached out to Stewart's Creek, Smyrna High, Laverne High. We met the faculty, met the students. We had them tour. I had the faculty tour before the students. We onboarded and we hired them. Okay, I know there's a lot of HR in the room, so I'm speaking your language, hopefully with a little bit of operations as well. Okay, so in 2018, we connected with those schools, had the faculty come tour. We went to the schools. I think this is really important because I think in today's society, it's just apply online, here's the job, apply if you will, okay? But the key for us was going to the schools, connecting with leadership, going in, taking our leadership on operations side and HR, and speaking to the schools, okay? Because that connects you with what you're doing. They understand, especially for Ingram, we're a third party, so a lot of people don't understand the middleman. They just hear Amazon or Barnes & Noble. So you really have to go in there and explain who you are and what you do. So that was key. We asked interested students to come tour. The students came and toured our facility with operations and HR again. We onboarded them and we hired them, okay? So in 2019, the recruitment process was kind of the same. But in 2019, we met with the students and asked who wanted to continue, okay? Think about our business. We're really busy October, November, December when people are reading or buying cookbooks or they're in their homes. So we hired them for the peak season. We hired them September, October, November, December. And in January and February, we kind of had to start to outline, hey guys, we have productivity standards. Hey guys, we have attendance standards, okay? And that was kind of difficult, but what we did was brought the students in and we asked them who wants to stay. Okay, we've gotten through our busy season, you've worked in operations, who would like to stay on with us? Okay, we did get a lot of students that stayed, and I'll go into that. But talking about regular auxiliary guidelines and expectations after our busy season when we were kind of able to breathe and remember how, who's going to stay and who wants to leave was important. Okay, pros and opportunities with the program overall. Okay, I'm going to talk about the opportunities first. Our recruitment started late. Okay, that's something we do. I think we started recruiting maybe November that year. It was late. And we really should have started in October. We had more time to spend with the students and to get them trained up. The school meeting. Okay, so this is something you wouldn't think about. If you plan a school meeting, let's say you plan it for 2 p.m. Okay, when I went into the meeting at 2 p.m., there was probably 100 students in there. Okay, why? Because they wanted to skip class. Okay, so Then when they came to tour, it was more like 30, which was still good, but when you went from 100 in the information session during school to 30 after school for your tour, it's very different, okay? You don't expect that. We let the students make their own schedule. We had multiple leaders that the students reported to. That was another opportunity, and I'll talk about that more. We did not expect all the emails. Okay, that's big. Our normal procedure is a call-out procedure. Here's our card. If you're late, if you're not going to be here, please call out. Okay, the card, the supervisor and the leadership's card also had the email. Okay, students love to email. Okay, it's something we kind of have to adapt to. And we did not expect all the emails, so that's something we realized quickly. And the call-out procedure, kind of going back to the emailing, that's how they communicate. A lot of them would text the card to call out, and I would have to explain what a landline is, okay, and you can't text a landline. So just little things like that you don't think of, like, call no show, and they'd be like, no, I texted. Here, I'll show you. And it was the number, and they'd text it, but they didn't understand it was a landline, okay? So pros, we started the program, we asked faculty to tour, we took a senior manager who started at Ingram on the information session. He really spoke well. 30-minute tour and information session, made the hiring process quick. That's super important. I recommend that you go to your information session and have the tour the next day, okay? You gotta really get them while they're invested and excited. The longer you wait, the more fall-off you're gonna have. Our pay was a pro, and the flexibility in schedules. So if you want to know what our schedule was, it was Friday and Mondays 4:30 to 9, and Saturday, Sunday 7 to 3:30. They had to work one Friday or Monday, and they had to work one Saturday or Sunday full day, okay, to work with us. They could work all of it. One important thing I learned was when you first go in, they'll say, oh yes, I want to do all the days, okay? And I would talk to them about football games, activities that they may want to do, and how you're going to be held to this schedule. So we're busiest on Monday, so I would kind of push them to not take Fridays and to take Mondays, okay? Because that helps us and it helps them. All right, 2018 results. This right here is Braxton Folds. He started 2018 with us. He's been promoted. He actually went with us this year to speak to Vergne High School in Stewart's Creek. He's very shy, but we coached and developed him. Our leadership has really invested in him, and he's been a great partner with us. 2018, we hired 30, and I broke down the numbers, and in the spring, we kept 7, okay? So it's pretty good. Of those 30 from 2018, we still have 3 with us, okay? Any questions for 2018? We'll go into, yes?
Why do you think the number for Laverne was so significantly higher than the other 2 schools?
Location. Yeah. Location, it was closest, and it was kind of funny. Those students, they drove over together, they got out of their cars together, they came into our building together, they hung out in the break room before they started their shift, they all moved towards the clock together, and they just kind of stuck together. It just worked. Our whole warehouse, I have people come up and they say, I can tell the high schoolers are here, and you could definitely tell because they were moving as a group, but I definitely think location was why we had so many. It's closest to our facility, it's easy to get to, they were just a really good partner. Okay, 2019, we hired 53 students. These are the students that we hired. They don't really enjoy pictures. They're happier there than they look, okay? 2020 recruitment process, we connected with local schools, created a rec and HR, gave the link to the teachers, invited students to tour, sent orientation email, onboarded. We really just tried to send them the link to the position we have. We sent to a lot of teachers in 2019 or 2020 because of COVID. So we didn't go to the schools, okay, which I didn't like as well. I prefer going to the schools. I think that connects you and it gives you that relationship that you need with the students. It was pretty good last year. We handed out the link. We had to do it that way because of COVID. We set the schedule expectations. You see that below. We started recruitment a little later than we would have liked. That seems to happen. We had better call-out procedures because we kind of incentivized them to not take Fridays, okay? Because they're going to take off for football games, proms, things like that. That's important. Okay, so I'm going to go to the questions that I think your company needs to ask before you hire high school students. I talk so fast sometimes my words just slide over. Okay, what schedule do you need to fill? Okay, the reason that we started thinking about high schoolers was we had a need to fill during a certain time of the year. So what is your need? What is the length of employment that you want the students to fulfill? Maybe it's seasonal. At least they can put on their resume, I've worked in an operations environment. That's important. And I would talk to them about, supply chain, transportation, logistics, other things they don't think about or they don't hear about. Do we plan to keep the students? That kind of goes back to your length of employment. How many students do we want to hire? Okay, that's important to know before you go in. How will students request off? And I think the most important question that I cannot drill home enough is who will be the best point of contact? Who is going to be their leader, okay, at your organization? It really needs to be someone that's passionate about students, okay? If they think students are annoying, they don't like the way they call out, they want them to call out on the phone, this is the only way to do it, that's probably not your best leader, okay? And it's really important to vet that as far as HR and figure out who is the best point. We do have one person now, his name's Nick Davis. He is our manager on second shift. He's very passionate about high school students and hiring them, getting the best place, getting to know them, and investing in them, okay? I'm very passionate about it as well. Starting out in college, I didn't really have anyone that I knew. I didn't have any contacts in HR, and so I had a leader with Ascension Health. She gave me my first internship, okay? And she really invested in me. So I feel like that's the same for the high school students. They need that, they crave that, they want that, okay? Kind of like with Braxton, what we've done with him. So who will be your best point of contact? I really think that through. And what are your attendance expectations and how will we hold the students accountable? Okay, the students now are regular auxiliary associates, so they are expected to fulfill the same expectations an auxiliary associate would be expected to. Okay, overview for the program. Overall, it's been really great for Ingram. Okay, we did not have a Saturday, Sunday shift when we started with the high schoolers. We do now. We have about 80 associates on our Saturday, Sunday schedule. So the high school kind of started our Saturday, Sunday weekend shift that we currently have. We've hired several high schoolers throughout the year to work the Saturday, Sunday shift. And we're currently recruiting right now. This will be our 4th year. We've already been to Vergne High School and we're scheduled at Stewart's Creek already, okay? In the last 3 years, we've hired 146 students. Again, some of these are on the Saturday, Sunday schedule. They've applied and been recruited that way. Some of them are in the afternoons. We have 95 students currently, and we're currently recruiting for 2021, okay? With this year, it's been a little bit more of a challenge. For instance, like at Laverne, they did say that a lot of the students went and got jobs when COVID started. So that's been a little bit of a challenge. As of yesterday, we hired 17, okay, which I thought was pretty good. So just depends. I definitely think that the students they give our warehouse a new energy, and I wanted to bring that up. And if they do, I know every place is now hiring now. If you're in HR and you don't have job abandonments, great. But most of us have job abandonments, okay? They no call, no show, and they leave. At least high schoolers will tell you they're leaving, okay? that's a pro. They'll come to you and say, hey, I just don't want to do this anymore. Here's my resignation sheet. And they'll talk, they'll communicate, and that's important. In today's workforce, we're not seeing that. We're seeing people walk off the job and they don't come back. We don't know why they leave. So the high school students have been, they show up on time, they come as a group, they have a great attitude, they're willing to be cross-trained, they want to be cross-trained, and they just need that company, that leader, to invest in them and help them along the way. So that's what we've done as far as Ingram. I hope I explained it well. Does anybody have any questions about the program thus far? Yes.
What about your pay? What's that starting pay look like, and is there a progression?
It's $16. We are in the process of adding that to that. It's $16 to start out. This year, we actually, like right now, we're recruiting. We're going back to giving them the option of what schedule to work. So we're gonna ask them to work Monday through Friday, 4:30 to 9, and they can pick their shift. Okay, they have to work a minimum of 3 days, but I let them pick those days. And they seem to really like that this year, letting them choose. Fall break's coming up, so one of the things that we've had is students asking, can I work more hours? Our current students have been asking about that, so that's good. But it is $16 an hour, and they seem really excited about that.
And I would be.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
one thing about the hours also, if it's a student who is enrolled in work-based learning, they have to get at least 10 hours a week, which that's usually not an issue, but that is something to think about. If they're enrolled in 2 periods of work-based learning, so some of our students take work-based learning for the last 2 periods of the day, so they can leave almost every single day early, they have to get 20 hours. So that sometimes can be a little bit more of an issue or a problem.
Okay, your question? Yes.
Do you see that these employees have more attendance issues or?
Less.
Okay.
Yeah.
So definitely more reliable and
Yes.
once you get on training.
Yes. Because I think, at least for us, we have high turnover. That's just reality of the environment we're in. And people are just going from one warehouse to the other. By the time they get to mine, I feel like they've been to 3. And sad, that's reality. And so the high schoolers, this is their first big job. They're really excited about the pay. They're really excited about picking their own schedule. So I definitely think there's less, especially tardies, attendance, no call, no show issues. It's just getting the right leader to communicate with them and to grow them.
And is that starting pay similar to what your other associates start out at?
Yes. Yeah. The only difference between our auxiliary associates don't get the shift diff, which that's what we're reviewing. But our full-time second shift associates, they do get a shift diff. Any other questions?
What's that differential?
Depends on the shift. So it's
First and second?
Well, we have kind of a midday that's 1:30 to 10. And it's 75-cent shift diff, and then we have a Sunday through Thursday, 4:30 to 1 a.m. and it is $1.50. So, but we're reviewing the shift diff for auxiliary.
If you have repeat students, do they get increases in wages between the sessions?
Yes, they would get a merit increase. We do that in March. We also offer tuition reimbursement. So after they graduate, they go full-time. We have $5,200 tuition reimbursement. A lot of our leadership has done that in the past, so that's something that we advertise as well with the students. Yeah, that's been, yes.
So what about safety issues and quality issues, students versus regular associates?
Probably the same, or less. Yeah. Yes.
I just want to say that's a great program, and you guys seem to be doing a great job with it. want to let you know you did a great job.
No, thank you. Thank you.
Tell us about the quality and the standards that you hold us to, the students to with quality.
What do you mean? Yes,
So,
yes.
quality-wise,
Mhm.
the adults have their standards and the students have the exact same standards.
Yeah, yeah, and we've gotten better about talking about productivity in the early stages, because we are a productivity-driven environment. So we've talked about that early on, and the students actually like that. There's a board and we post every day the productivity standards and where you're at. And the students enjoy, especially the groups like from Vergne High School, comparing where you're at versus where I'm at. It's kind of competitive. So the quality standards and the productivity standards are the same across the board. Anything else?
The PowerPoint, can you share it with us?
Yes,
Be able to get that.
yes, I will. I'll share that with Beth and somehow distribute that out.
Kelly, do you know if they're doing that already? Sharing PowerPoints?
I do not know.
Okay, anybody who has a business card, I'll be happy to take that and connect with you, and also send you the PowerPoint.
From what I understand, all these are being video.
Yes.
If you signed up for this, you're gonna have access to it.
Oh, great.
He knows. They just asked me to take pictures.
One more question. So
Yeah.
if they go through the program and then they graduate high school and they want to come to work full-time, do you give them more money then too?
It's the same.
Okay.
Yeah, they will get the merit increase, and like last year, that was one of our busiest years ever because of COVID. It was like a peak season, but all year long as far as books. So there was a lot of opportunity for growth. There still is. There's a need there. So like with Braxton, they do have the opportunity to advance. A lot of them do ask to go full-time. We've had several do that, or they'll adjust their schedule based on their college schedule. We've had several students that ask to go full-time during the summer, which as far as HR, there's a lot of changes behind the scenes. So we do let them do that in the summers. I sometimes don't let them do that as far as fall breaks and spring breaks, just because it's such a short amount of time. But several students do work full-time during the summers as well, which is great. Anything else? I'm 40.
Yeah, 5 minutes. Very good.
Yeah.
If anybody would like to connect with me, and set up, a meeting, I'm happy to talk with anybody and see what your needs are, because every organization has different needs. It's definitely what I'm finding. So we can talk about, even as little as, hey, I just want to be a guest speaker, or an industry partner, or I want to hire high school students in the afternoons, or I want to hire high school students in work-based learning, or there's a wide range of work-based learning activities that can happen. So I'm happy to help with that, connect you with the right people.
I like to vouch, your support has been great. So I'm gonna get, not to bombard Mary Beth and Ingram, but if you do have any naysayers or some people in your organization who are kind of scared, Mary Beth was nice enough to invite our organization in. A couple of our HR folks who were very timid about the idea. I can tell you halfway through that meeting, the passion that Ingram had, that Mary Beth had, it sparked a fire within that group. We couldn't leave the parking lot without talking about our next strategy and how we were gonna do it. Tiffany was nice enough, as soon as she got on, I think you're maybe on with the team with about a week, 2 weeks. You scheduled a number of meetings for us with Smyrna High, and I call it the Ingram model because we're going to follow their approach with how we're going to recruit. We've connected with Smyrna. Our goal and target is January, so we're going to start recruiting as soon as we can. Just show up at the schools, talk about what we do, and hopefully have the same success that they have. So, great team.
Thank you.
Been great support.
Thank you. Yeah, I encourage, if you're not looking for high volume staffing like we're doing, Parks for Living.
Oh,
They-
ballparks?
Yes, they
Yes.
reached out to us last week, Tiffany and myself, and they just want to hire 2 students. But that can really spark and grow. So I encourage you, if you're not looking to hire, 50 students like Ingram, think about one or two or, just a few to give them an opportunity.
And I suggest starting small.
Yeah.
To get some of those kinks worked out, figure out some of your HR policies that might need to change, or how you want to handle certain things, because there's going to be issues that you're not going to think about, and that I would never think to tell you, or that I haven't even thought about. You guys are going to see issues like that, and that you'll have to fix in the middle of it. But we're all here to work together, and in the end, it's about the students. And it's about helping them to have a better foundation and a better future, and helping our community and our industries. Because a lot of you guys are struggling now. And we recognize that as education. In education, we recognize that. And this is us trying to help you. And to help the students. And it's about what's best for our community and them as well. If you don't have a card and want to reach out to me, I'll be happy to write your email down as you're leaving. We have other sessions too. So there's 2 other sessions here in this room. You're welcome to stay for one or both of those. There's other rooms. If you don't have a schedule, I'm happy to let you look at mine. And I hope you guys have a wonderful day, and just let us know how we can help you.